We've got to go over to Parliament where Mr. Dan Boche, Minister Designate for Regional Reorganization, has already started his session there at the vetting committee. Let's go over there now.
The first week.
The first week is supposed to have ended, I think, 6 January 2017. Yes.
So can we, with your permission, amend that portion of your CV 2012-2016? Can we, and then also just ahead of it, on top, 2009, and you leave the rest vacant, Member of Parliament for Okre. Is it not up to today that you are still representing the people of Okre? You don't say anything. So is that 2009? Did it just start and end at 2009?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my difficulty was that if I put 2009, 2017, the impression will be created that I'm going to end in 2017. But I get it. I can add to present. Thank you.
Yeah. When if you say to date, we know that as for election, we didn't hear that you have resigned. So you will still be a member of Parliament as well as a nominee. So it should really be 2009 to date or to present, as some people would. If you agree, we can change it to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And the earlier one that he corrected, it should actually be your minority.
Being given a task where there's a meeting of minds on that. In fact, on page 72, 73 of the NDC manifesto 2, in the case of NDC manifesto, as highlights were given in September at Banquet Hall by President John Mahama. The NDC manifesto also said that new regions will be created, and they go ahead and talk about what is in the constitutional provision of setting up a commission of inquiry and then increasing the number of regions to 15. That was the promise of the NDC, 15. For now, the president has talked about 4. So happily, there's meeting of minds on the major political parties in the country about the need to have more regions in Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, a quick follow-up. Will you use the same vehicle of a commission of inquiry in pursuit of this agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's exactly what the Constitution says, and you can trust that that's what we're going to follow. That once the president is convinced of that, either there's petitions and whether the president is convinced of that, a commission of inquiry will be set up, and the necessary democratic processes, as said in Article 5234, will be followed.
When should we expect you setting up this commission of inquiry to commence work?
Mr. Chairman, in the remarks given by His Excellency the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he was announcing the appointment, he made it clear that as the majority leader might even know better, that it might lead to a referendum. A referendum can be an expensive exercise. So instead of having a separate referendum for this one, and once we are aware that 2018, 2019, we may have district assembly elections, as we normally call it, he will wish that it is done at the same time, so as to minimize costs. So this seems to be the timetable being given, that by the time we have our municipal or district assembly elections, we will also go ahead and have a referendum on the 4 regions that have been proposed for now, so that we can have the referendum together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is the first time we've seen a nominee displaying some materials behind him. I just want the honorable nominee to indicate to us what he wants us to know about the items displayed behind him.
Yes, you asked me permission to display them, and I gave you the permission, so kindly explain what you're going to do with them to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know whether I will have the permission to stand up. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Honorable, he is asking whether I have a choric. But fortunately, we have moved on. There's something more than a choric. But Mr. Chairman, as I said, it's fortunate that on such a policy or decision, major political parties agree on that. And again, as when I was asked to handle this ministerial position, people volunteered. I also went on the net, I read books, I went to statistical service, got material, and it's that this is something that had agitated the minds of Ghanaians for a very long time. In fact, a member of parliament told me that if you come to, if I may mention, say the Ahafo constituency, region talking about, they've been talking about this matter for about 30 years. 30 years. And he gave me an insight to what has been happening. There's so much material on the net about letters have been written, especially about Northern region and how it should be done. I even was told by another member of parliament here about a paper that was presented by Professor Kofi Kumado when he even suggested that Ghana should have 20 regions. And it was very interesting reading that. So many people, it seemed to be a topic that people have really dealt with for some years. And if you look on this map, especially...
Chairman, sorry to interrupt. Before you do your geography lessons, so far we've had Western region, we've had OT, you've come to Northern region, you've indicated that you're Ahafo. Now, that's a 4.
Yes, please.
This is the 4 that we expect that you appoint a commission of inquiry to start the process of leading Ghana into what the Constitution requires as a referendum.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Now you can do your demarcations and we'll see. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, so we're talking of Western region, Ahafo, Brown Ahafo region, creating an Ahafo region, which it will be, the details to be given by the Commission of Inquiry. And it's important that we do not preempt what they were going to do. But at least, that's it. Then we have Northern region. Mr. Chairman, I have the statistics here, and I must confess when I addressed myself today, the 70,000 square kilometers, and you begin to wonder why we've had the region from Cote d'Ivoire to Togo and here. And it makes administering the region very, very difficult. In fact, I have documents here that talk about the former ministers who have been appointed to Northern region, the comments they made during vetting committee like this, and other papers that have been written about why we should not have, the region should not remain as it is, and that we should have 2. Some even have gone ahead to suggest 3 regions. Then again, you have this part of Volta region. That also is where it's being proposed that the Commission of Inquiry should look at it, and based on the stakeholders' consultation that they will have, and the outcome of it, therefore, the President, the matters we put for the referendum into hand. And Mr. Chairman, there needs to have regions, and the fact that it enhances development, accelerated development, can also be seen from this map. This is poverty. Ghana poverty incidence map, and this is from the statistical service. And you realize that by the legend, the top here is where you have the less percentage. And then I asked them why the coloring is so close to each other like that, but that's what they have. And you realize that, for example, in Upper West, because Upper West was created, this place, which has a higher, a lower incidence of poverty, percentage of poverty, is the Wa municipality. Whereas all around it, as you can see, very high incidence of poverty.
Chairman, I'm compelled to come just for the nominee. Help us. You see, my son accuses me that I'm poor in colors. You have to share with us the colors. What are you highlighting? I just see some color which looks like some color, and then some tint blue and some yellow. I don't want you to fall in that trap. Share with us what you are doing with those colors there. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I did indicate that even when I went to statistical service, I had the same challenge. And I asked them that so many colors that we have in this world, couldn't they have separated? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. That is very difficult to answer to a definition, but unfortunately that's what we have. But certainly, what will you call this? for easier, let's say red or pink. All these areas are where they have high incidence of corruption. Sorry, high incidence of poverty. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. High incidence of poverty. High incidence of poverty. And it makes good to reason that maybe that's why there's that meeting of minds, that we should divide the regions and see that because we have so many, we have regions, we have regional coordinating councils. You go to the Constitution and the Local Government Act we just passed, Act 936, it talks about the role of the regional coordinating councils. So we have regional coordinating councils in these regions who will help to plan, will help to supervise, and should make sure that they follow closely the developmental program that government have. And we want to believe that that will certainly accelerate development in the regions.
Thank you. Can we now remove the map so that the people behind you can be with us? Right? Okay. Will somebody assist him, please? Thank you very much. Now, let me go to Honorable Pat before I come to Honorable Helu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, General. Yes. It's good that you showed us the last map, because my question is, regional reorganization and development has a direct link with poverty reduction as enshrined in the development goals. And I wanted to find out if you agree with me and what will be the steps to make sure that we'll be able to ensure that by creating these regions, we'll be minimizing poverty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as I alluded to earlier on. One, if you look at the composition of the RRCs and their functions as enshrined in the Constitution, and as I said in Act 936 also about the functions of the RRCs, you realize that they have the coordinating role and the planning, coordinating, and then supervising, making sure that the district assemblies perform as it's been done. And when you have, as we showed, you are supposed to be supervising or pretend to be supervising the whole of Northern region as it is. It's obvious that it is not going to augur well for isolated development. So that in itself will certainly to happen. Our chiefs will have a greater role to play. You know, there are two representatives of the two regional House of Chiefs in each RRC. So now, if by God's grace and by the goodwill we expect, we are able to create these 4 regions, more chiefs are going to have a better role to play. They are also going to supervise very well new initiatives. Certainly, it will come from new regional capitals. Almost every organization will have their regional headquarters, regional fire service headquarters, regional police command, and that in itself, as I tried to indicate in the WA and these environs, that alone creates, job opportunities, and then it helps in better supervision. And I believe that the program that will be rolled out, especially now that we're going to have $1 million per constituency, for example, and you have one district, one factory, better supervision to make sure that the people benefit from some of these policies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so this is your first. Otherwise, we're going to, for this candidate, we're going to do one question.
Yes, but this is just a friendly one. Because as the Honorable Member for Tamale Central, Tamale South, he was asking you about your experiences as a General Secretary. But my question is, why are you still called the General? Because we've had a number of General Secretaries and nobody is called the General, but you yourself.
Mr. Chairman, my lawyer, I've heard my lawyer on the village, they say the answer. Well, Mr. Chairman, we started the politics a bit early. As I said, my party, we didn't have a position of a national organizer. we introduced Director of Operation Research between 96 and 98. And that's when I worked at the party headquarters. It gave me the opportunity to tour the country very well. I remember first time traveling with the late lawyer Selifo Bawadiaka from Binduri up to Nandom to Hamili, and staying with the people there and interacting with them, understanding the country. Then it continued for another 5 years as the General Secretary of the party. And because of the closeness with the people, and maybe the affection that was developed, that's why maybe the name has stayed as it is.
Are you not being humble? Was it not the case that you were among the gallant men that worked to let the MPPC political power after some long years in political wilderness?
Well, Mr. Chairman, by the grace of God, we had the opportunity to serve. And as I said, I did tour the country. I've been to every constituency in this country a number of times. It gets to give the opportunity to understand the people, see their plight, and the desire to make sure that you be part of any system or any team that will work to make sure that at the end of the day, policies and programs that we pursue will go to upgrade the quality of life of our citizens, and that's their passion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations, Honorable Dan Boche. The news of the Division of Water Region has been received by mixed feelings. I mean, there are mixed feelings all over the place. Some people argue that the region is very small. If you look at the size of Water Region compared to others, it is one of the smallest. So what is really the basis for thinking about dividing this small region into two? Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, as indicated earlier, the main problem, the main motivation, is for more effective administration and accelerated development. It's more about development. And if you look at the poverty incidence map, you see that a very high incidence of poverty is in that area also. And again, a lot of work, and I want to believe, supported by technical committee or group that will be formed to support the Commission of will support the work that they are supposed to do. So you have people from lands, you want to have people, development planners, you have people from statistical service, and they all come together. And there are going to be a lot of consultation and stakeholder meeting. And the National House of Chiefs, and for that matter, Regional House of Chiefs, will play a major role in all these things. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we'll take a decision that will benefit all of us. The whole idea is to improve upon government administrative machinery and at the regional level, which will lead to accelerated development. And that is what all of us, all our people, that's what they are interested in. And they believe, just as it was said, I hope, I was talking to the General Secretary today of NDC, and we'll follow up discussion later on a different subject. But I hope to meet, for example, the General Secretary of NDC to find out the 5 regions that they were going to create. Which are the regions that they were going to create from 10 to 15, and why they were going to do that. So we're going to be a lot of discussion on this, but at least it's important that a government makes a proposition and then all of us will discuss it. That's what I said. An eminent scholar that many people know, Professor Kumado, his paper that is here, I read, is talking about 20 regions, and it's assigned reasons why it should be 20. Very interesting documents out there that when I was assigned this tag, I started reading. And it's very, very interesting. Very interesting, I think. So I'm sure that we should be able to put our minds together. And as I said again, if NDC's propose 5 regions, then we are proposing 4. We are not the only parties anyway, but it means that there's a meeting of minds, and it should be possible for us to pursue this agenda, because we all believe in the quick development of life of our people. And therefore, all of us will put our heads together, learn from each other, consult each other, compare notes, and see what will be the best thing for the country to pursue.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Minister Designate. I am particularly excited that His Excellency the President finds you as the right person to lead the creation of these new regions. We in the New Patriotic Party, particularly those of us who worked under you, are very clear in our mind about your diligence, precision, and discipline. And these are quite important in leading this nervy curve in demarcating and realigning paramountcies and districts to form a region. I'm happy you showed the graph, and I was looking at it quite closely. If the map, the Upper West region was created some 30 years ago. The same argument for the creation of the region was development, high incidence of poverty, effective coordination, because then it used to be the upper region. 30 years on, from your own map, it is clear that it is only the one municipality that has seen some improvement in terms of poverty having been reduced to some minimal levels. But at the same time, the other adjoining constituencies and districts have a high incidence of poverty, well over 70% from the statistics. So this brings into sharp focus the idea that it may not necessarily be the creation of the region that will resolve the issue of poverty. Other things must follow. Do you share this view?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as I indicated, I did ask the government statistician, the officer I met, the same thing, the same question. And I don't know whether, I don't have his permission, but I will say it. I did ask my very good friend, Honorable Yelichire, whose constituency is next to the Wa municipality, Wenchau and other places. So why? I asked him exactly the same question. That this is the map I was actually holding a map from the Statistical Service. That this is what I've just collected for the Statistical Service. And if the incidence of poverty is quite low, the percentage in Wa and everything, how come just the next constituency or district after Wa is so high that place? And we discussed it. He shared ideas, and that was what I found it very interesting in this exercise. That people are open about it. They share ideas. Some of them even think that at times, based on the information that was gathered, how it was gathered, because at times it defies reason why it can be what it is. Then again, I believe that there should be also some affirmative action. If you agree that this is an area that needs accelerated development, and you created a region, you cannot treat them the same as existing regions. You cannot. You cannot. We should be able to say that no. If that is the case, then the resources that go into that area, if we succeed in creating these 4 regions, if you are going to build headquarters for the police, you are going to have to build bungalows, you have to build a regional fire office, and many other such institutions. So for all of them to enjoy the same budget as usual will not help you to achieve that. So these are some of the things I'm sure as the commission works and as there's wide consultations, certainly starting from this very house, because we are the direct representatives of the people. 275 people have been directly elected by the people. And if a new region that is being created, Western North, as very strong members of parliament like Honorable Ahi and others there, they should be able to help us, pursue this objective of accelerated development. And I believe that we will not just stop us mere rearranging of boundaries to create a region and leave it like that just by itself, the region will develop. I share the same sentiments with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Let me congratulate Honorable Daniel Boche. I definitely have confidence in your ability to deliver on this, what I would call special purpose vehicle ministry, to execute this very important task. And I am building on what Honorable Kabo asked about the relationship between creating regions and fighting poverty. I think from the map of the incidence of poverty that you showed, I think the only real explanation for the differential in the incidence of poverty between one municipality and the rest is the siting of UDS there and the investment it attracts to that location, that students bring, that service providers bring, and all that. That basically is, in my opinion, the only logical explanation of the difference. But the issue that he raises is, for me, perhaps one of the most important arguments that in doing this job you must have in mind. But also, as a country, we've been complaining about the size of government and how much money we spend on government. The creation of new regions and the replication of governmental structures in 4 additional regions. Have you considered how much cost? My own party proposed 5. You are proposing 4. Maybe you are even a little lower. But I'm just asking, have you thought about the financial implications for a country that is struggling with a huge public sector wage bill? Have you considered that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, yes, it is true that we should always be very conscious of the wage bill and then expenditure in general. But at the end of the day, it's the purpose for which we do this expenditure, because it is finally going to help in associated development. I have a farm in Chifupras, oil palm, some 100-acre oil palm. And I was there about 3 weeks ago looking at my accounts. So much money was spent on fertilizer. And they tell me that in Malaysia, they apply about 20-something kilos per tree in a year. Chief oil palm plantations apply about 12, and I'm applying 1 or 2. And then they were, even that one, the cost was so, and they were saying that, look, I have to apply more. I mean, this year I should increase to about 3 kilos per tree. I said, wow, very expensive, but what is it? That it will benefit, we'll get more yield, and therefore we'll get higher income from the farm in future. But for now, it might sound that we are spending so much money, but it will be important. And that's what I will draw. That is, yes, it is true that we are going to build offices, we are going to create, there will be creation of jobs, which is important, and yet this investment in the infrastructure that will follow the creation of regions will go to benefit the country in the long run. Just as if I'm able to increase my application of fertilizer in my farm, I'm sure it will benefit me in the long run.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable, so much ran on my mind when it comes to introducing new boundaries to create the new regions. I'm thinking of the existing districts. The introduction of the new boundaries can affect the existing district. Have you started looking at that? It's because there are legal implications of the existing district, constitutional implication when it comes to reviewing the boundaries of the district. Is that coming up in your discussions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, again, in my interaction with the statistical service, you see that we may not have to reinvent the wheel. These are topics that we have experts, we have professionals who have dealt with all along. About a document they gave me, a report of the Committee on District Boundary Disputes. this is something that they've worked on. The one Professor Benning has written so much on it, how they solve these problems, the reason why they come, and the way they should go about it. A lot has been written. And fortunately for this country, we have very good people who know so much about this. And as I indicated, this will be some of the technical committees that will support this commission of inquiry that will do this job. And we can anticipate that, but I'm very confident by the people I have interacted with and many others that I'm sure know so much about this process will be of so much value that we should be able to reduce some of these incidences.
Chairman, thank you very much. Nominee, the issue I have is about creating new regions in order to introduce or bring to the people on the ground decentralized government. The Upper West region, one of the reasons was that we were taking government to the doorsteps of the people. It is good that you want to create 4 more regions, but there seems to be a contradiction in some of our major policy announcements. First, we have, in 2008, we created a Northern Development Authority, later on changed to Savannah Accelerated Development Authority. Then, as a result, you hear high-profile people announce Western Corridor Development Authority, Middle Belt Authority, and then West Eastern Corridor Authority. To me, you are dividing and adding, or bringing together again. How do you want to situate this? Of course, I know that in many countries, you have special development regions for specific reasons. And one of the reasons for the SADA or NDA, as it was then, was because of the historical disadvantage in terms of the development. But if you start to create 14 or create 4 more regions in order that you will develop faster, then you are bringing 4 or 5 district regions together to form an authority. Don't you see there is going to be conflict?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm not very clear about that there will be conflict. And let me state it here that I've had a lot of interaction with the Honorable Member of Parliament who just asked a question. And for about 30 minutes, we stood in front of the lift and he really went through this discussion. I think the point of this, if we are now having, you want to decentralize, bring government closer to the doorsteps of the people. And so you are creating more regions, maybe more districts, and also make sure that there's accelerated development. Then why are you also bringing some other regions together to form authority? So in one breath, you are trying to decentralize, another breath, you are trying to, as it were, concentrate power in one sense. So we had that discussion, and I did enjoy that. But as I said that, fortunately, we have people who are passionate about this whole exercise. And there are so many ideas that the more we consult stakeholders and other eminent people who are well versed in these things, as a nation, we all come to a consensus and pursue the path that will benefit our country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations. I haven't listened to you. Your background as the former General Secretary. With this task given to you by the President, I foresee a problem in terms of after the creation of the 4 regions, siting of capitals. And I really want to see, I know you are very good in skill in, trying to bring people together with all that. I foresee this happening between towns and maybe tribes or what kind of thing. I really want you to share with us, should this thing happen, I pray that we don't get there, but I foresee some of these things really happening. that how are you going to involve, other stakeholders? And I'm happy you have the NDC manifesto there, and trying to compare, so that we see really that when we cite a capital in town A on behalf of all the towns that constitute that new region, it's not going to raise any eyebrow of something. So really, I want you to share with us as to how you're going to deal with some of these things should they happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I will repeating myself. These are certainly some of the challenges that we will face. And fortunately, for those who had indicated that they have been addressing or trying to discuss these issues about 20 years, 30 years, have given some indications, some of the reasons why maybe they couldn't pursue it. Because, for example, it is, almost everybody will agree that we can't keep on having, example, Northern region, over 70,000 square kilometers, as we have now, as one administrative region. But there are challenges. Where do you draw the boundary? Ethnicity, so many other things. But I want to believe that people of goodwill decided that this is what we all agree will help us, should be able to overcome these challenges and pursue the very objective that we have given ourselves. I'm very confident about that. And again, as I indicated, if you read some of the books from Statistical Service, that they never had it easy even when they are organizing census. That some people in certain areas will refuse to be counted because you have added them to a particular district or a particular ethnic area. But yet they have a way of going about solving these things. So these are people we are going to rely on in this exercise. Yes, we are discussers. You go to the net, or Ghanaians, very patriotic. Some have even presenting papers to me, even though I have not been cleared by you. And it's interesting, documentation that have been there. The Professor Kumato lecture I talked about was in 2007, part of the Golden Jubilee lectures, when he said we needed 20 regions, 2007. And there are other papers that have been written that date back about 15 years ago. So it's a matter that has been on the discussion on the table for a very long time. So I believe that the way we have exhausted it, we are going to get our honorable members of parliament involved in this exercise. The National House of Chiefs, Regional House of Chiefs are going to be involved in this exercise, statistical surveys, survey department, because many of them have done some work. They have some of these challenges, and I believe that once we have unity of purpose, we should be able to overcome this.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman, and permit me to congratulate the Honorable Daniel Kweku Boche, who Honorable Haruna Idrisu will agree with me, has always been an icon of the student movement in Ghana, former NUCS secretary, former NUCS coordinating secretary, a man all NUCS activists admire very much. Congratulations, and we wish you very, very well. I have only one question for you, which has to do with some legitimate concern out there about possible gerrymandering. And we all know gerrymandering to be where demarcations are done in a way to favor the political advantage of those who are doing the demarcations. We all know you as one of the most successful general secretaries of a political party, of the New Patriotic Party, the general secretary who returned the MPP to power after more than 30 years in the political wilderness. With this political expertise you have, and now you have been tasked to create new regions, what assurance can you give this committee and the good people of Ghana that you will be fair, you will be objective, you will look at the national interest, and there will be no gerrymandering, no demarcations to inure to the political advantage of your political persuasion or ideological background? I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the favorable comments. Mr. Chairman, I can assure your committee that it is the view of His Excellency the President that this is a national assignment for the interest of all of us Ghanaians. There will be no attempt at all to try to do anything to favor a particular political party, and for that matter, the New Patriotic Party. In any case, Mr. Chairman, somebody asked a question earlier on my experience as a General Secretary on electioneering. I think we've tried it all. And if anybody, any student of politics will sit down and study our politics in Ghana, you realize that these things, they actually don't help. And the Patriotic Party increased or initiated steps to get the number of constituencies increased from 200 to 230, if I'm right. 2004. 2004, Mr. Chairman, I was in the strong room of the NDC, strong room of the Electoral Commission, as we used to call it. And it took us, we sweated. It took us a long time. We had to wait for the results from Weja before the elections, the results could be declared. After creating or initiating the steps to create 30 more constituencies, presumably to benefit us. In any case, it went ahead 2008 and we lost. Then NDC also took over. They also created 45 constituencies. Even the 45, NPP had even 23 out of it. There was a lot of cry of gerrymandering and it's for the political advantage. Finally, after 4 years, they also lost of all the 45. So I think it should be clear to us that some of these things that maybe we do as political parties, thinking that it will give us some advantage, even if they do, are very temporal, and finally it goes off. The people of Ghana, we should all be now sit back and say, no, there's something that people are going to look for in choosing their leaders or parties or people to govern them. And maybe we should address that instead of trying to maybe get advantages that are very temporary. But I can assure you, and His Excellency the President doesn't have that mindset at all. It's for Ghana. I'm very sure about that. And we will work in a way that all of us will appreciate the fact that it is just for national interest. As I've said, Mr. Chairman, many people have written articles about this, presented papers, chiefs who have met over these things have all done that with a view that it will enhance administration, it will also help us create growth poles, and then we will develop quicker than we are doing now. That could be the only motivating factor, and nothing will be done to create any unnecessary political advantage for a political party. That one I can assure you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Ranking Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to join you in congratulating the Honorable Dan Boche. I've crisscrossed with him many times in the field, from Bimbila through Willesi, through Samaboy, through Asawasi, and through Asankregua, coming through Gomoa East. And I appreciate the Honorable PAJ's comment of the General. But you are not a lucky general. You seem to be an unlucky general, unlike the NDC general that I know of. When the NDC assumed office, he declined to serve in the executive. In your case, watching your CV, you had only a stint in the executive government of President Kufuor, 205 to 206, just 1 year. That's why I'm describing you as unlucky Dan Boche. And then even today, as you are being recognized, you are to be responsible for reorganization and redevelopment of regions. You probably could be doing, we know your strength and we know what you are capable of doing. May I refer you to Chapter 2, in particular Clause 4, Territories of Ghana under the Constitution, and to refer you to what steps I know you have already indicated. The Constitution, and this will belong to the region, as you rightly said, of a referendum. When should we expect you coming with proposals subject to lay down constitutional processes to do this, which focuses on devolution of power, reference Article 4? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just as the Honorable Mandatory Leader had indicated, the Commission of Inquiry will be set up, clearly instated in the Constitution, as is said, and then the processes will be followed. They will come out with the issues that are supposed to be, we hold a referendum on, and then the areas where the referendum will take place. So I can assure you again that clearly Chapter 2 of the Constitution that talks about territories of Ghana, Article 4, 5, will be followed to the letter. But beyond the letter of the Constitution, a lot of consultation will take place to allay the fears. I'm sure, as I said, it has been discussed over and over again. Already people have been asking me, where are you going to draw the line in Northern region? Are you sure you're not going to favor a particular? Many of these things have come up. I don't want to give the specific example people have mentioned. But important thing is that with goodwill, malice towards none, we should be able to overcome some of these challenges and then pursue this objective, which will benefit all of us. But certainly, we will follow it. The Commission of Inquiry, I want to believe His Excellency is the one to set it up. And since he has, as it were, as I indicated earlier on, in our manifesto is only one region. He announced one in northern part of Buta region. But he has gone ahead to now say that I'm going to create 4. And to have a minister solely dedicated for that, and also having set the deadline that he wants it to take place with the municipal and district assembly elections 2018-2019. It will mean that by the grace of God and by your your favor, if we clear this hurdle, we will start working immediately.
You would now appreciate where President Mahama then was coming from. Now, if you read Article 5.2, it reads, and with the permission of the chairman, I quote, if the president, upon a petition being presented to him, so probably in announcing the 5 districts, President Mahama was adequately informed on the basis of the 5 regions, why he publicly said that he intended to create 5. Now, I get it from you that you are consulting in order to deepen it. But just to understand, other than that, how are you going to get the petitions? Are we now through you asking for invitations to the public to petition you as to which district they want and where? Thank you. And what region?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, in Article 5.3, in Article 5.3 of the Constitution, and if you have permission, I may also want to quote. It says that if notwithstanding that a petition has not been presented to him, the president is, on the advice of the Council of State, satisfied that the need has arisen for taking any of the steps referred to in paragraph A, B, and C of clause 1 of this article, he may, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, appoint a commission of inquiry. So even if there's not been any petition and the president finds there's the need, and I'm sure that's the same need that President Mahama also found, that made him even announce that there'll be 5 regions, we can initiate this process. Thank you very much.
Beyond regions, is part of your mandate to create districts and constituencies, and will you do this in collaboration with the Electoral Commission of Ghana, as was recommended by the Constitutional Review Committee?
Mr. Chairman, for now, the mandate is for the creation of regions. Thank you very much.
You seem to have lots of admirers around this table, and we're just wondering, beyond Commission of Inquiry, demarcation, creating of regions, what happens to the competence and brilliance of Dambuche? Will that be all for you in the political game?
Well, Mr. Chairman, His Excellency the President, in his wisdom, thinks that we should pursue this option, which will be of great help to this country because of many other things that we are doing. If we are able to get closer to the very people we represented with efficient administration, and just as it was asked by, I think, Honorable Cabo, that if just after creation of the region referendum, there's no affirmative action to ensure that they have enough resources. And many of these agencies that are supposed to decentralize have the resources and they have the structures to help them to function. The mere creation of it will not let the areas develop. So I don't want to believe that it will just end by just the demarcation. There should be a program of action to continue the process of accelerated growth to enhance or upgrade the quality of life of the people. And I want to believe that will have to be the action plan.
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, who I understand, what's your problem? Honorable Dan Kweku Boche, mine is just a commentary. I'm aware that Professor Nabila Dawulgunaba has some extensive research work on it, which can serve as a guide. Professor George Benny, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, one of my academic mentors, have some published work. And there's another Benny, the other B and her, who also have done some work. But just to reiterate that it may not be so that through creation of regions, we will be able to deal with poverty. I think more is a lack of economic activities in those parts of the world. And we should be thinking of how to ignite economic activities in many parts of the country. I can only congratulate you and wish you well. You served your country and served your country very well. I used to work with you under the Netherlands IMD program to deepen parts of our democratic architecture, and you played your part even in getting the IEA and many. Do you still harbor what they say? Me, my father didn't know Accra, so I've come very far. Do you still harbor presidential ambitions?
Honorable nominee, please, if you don't want to answer the question, don't.
Ignore it.
Mr. Chairman, I think the important thing at any particular time is what is it that you can do for your country? At any particular time, what is that you do? Once you are available and you are recognized and you are given a task to perform, you perform to the best of your ability. You take one thing at a time. And I can assure you, with the support and goodwill of our colleague members of parliament, who will, there has to be a lot of education in the creation of regions. And as I said earlier on, all of us agree, or majority of us agree, at least the two major political parties agree in the creation of more regions. And we are going to ask you to dip into this goodwill and show how we can bring everybody on board. And the challenges are known, they are clear. I'm happy we are making reference to Professor Benny, who have been quoted in this document so well. And there are many others. Professor Nabila has been head of geography department. He's also president of National House of Chiefs. And we need the chiefs to support this program. And so I'm very happy that there are people out there who have so much goodwill. And I said, I don't have his permission, but a presidential candidate of a party, former president, who had a discussion with about 30 minutes on phone on this same project. And I can see that many people are prepared to support. And once we show that we are not going to be unnecessarily partisan about it, and it's about national interest, we're able to draw all people to make sure that we achieve it. We need the regions. It will enhance effective administration. It will help accelerate development. And it's not just end in just the demarcation, but I believe there should be affirmative action in sending resources to these new regions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, one of the remarkable contributions of President Jerry John Rawlings to Ghana was to deepen the decentralization agenda through PNDC Law 207 of 1988. Subsequent to it, we've had many other districts created. You played a role as Minister for Information, and you were very strong in standing by your convictions, which probably cost you your job at the time. Would you want to share with us, what's your problem? Would you share with us, your friend behind you knows it, what advice do you have for any Minister for Information who comes to serve this country? Do you have any special advice for Ministers for Information?
Mr. Chair, Honorable Nominee, please, if you don't want to answer this question, don't.
Mr. Chairman, the advice is for all Ghanaians who find themselves in a position of trust, and I call upon to give up their best. That, if you permit me, I'll quote Colossians 3:23 in the Holy Bible, tells that whatever you do it to the glory of God. And we serve God and our country. And in any position anybody finds himself, I think he should be persuaded by that you are doing it to the glory of God and to the people you serve. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have one question. Will the entire activities involved in this lasting 4 years?
Well, Mr. Chairman, by His Excellency the President, he said that we should be able to achieve this to minimize cost. If it can coincide with the referendum can coincide with the municipal and district assembly elections 2018-2019, it will help. And just as even getting the sense around this table, and as many people have said, it's not just a mere drawing new boundaries that will create development by itself. And after that, we should have a positive action plan to ensure that these new regions that have been created really are on the path to accelerate development. And that, for that matter, based on the vision of the president and the manifesto of the party, I'm sure it's something that should take us a longer time.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Chief Whip, are there any people we should recognize?
Mr. Chairman, not really, but I see from the gallery Mrs. Rose Keddy, a former deputy clerk of this parliament, and then Honorable Kobina Tahil Hammond,
who is sitting at the wrong place.
Support the nominee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for attending upon the committee. You will hear from us. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.